Welcome to another edition of Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. All things Mississauga Steelheads and OHL hockey. Zach Bodenstein here with Mikey K, Mike Karafalidis, and Brendan Lang. So guys, it's been a lot lately. Hard to believe, first of all, we're 19 episodes in, but time's flying with you boys. We're also having a lot of fun with this. A great season. The Steelheads #1 in the Eastern Conference as we record this. And obviously we have a lot to recap and preview in terms of talking about the team. But first of all, Brendan, how are things, my man? I've seen you a lot recently, which is great. And I'll be seeing you a lot more coming up. But how are you doing?
Yeah, everything's been good. We had a busy weekend with the Steelheads out at the rink. Mikey even had a busier weekend, going out and traveling out to Erie and stuff. Heard there was some little bit of difficulty with some food and stuff on the travel. That's what JR was telling us. So Mikey laughing there. Anyways, maybe we can talk about that in a second. But no, it's been pretty good. Usually when we come on here, it's kind of the same stuff that I say every single time. So one thing that's different now, it's getting a little bit colder out. Usually I talk about golf because I love to golf. So I'm getting to the indoor simulators recently. I've been getting on the inside, the projector screens and stuff like that. So now that the season seems to be done, there was some snow today. Don't think I'm going to be getting back out on the course. So time to bring it inside. So yeah, that's pretty much the only difference that's been going on.
Mikey, how are you, my friend?
Good. Everything's good. Just a little bit upset about my Browns on Sunday. They had to get together and stuff like that, and I was really upset about that. Upset about the Browns loss, but it was nice to get together with friends on that Sunday. Erie was hilarious. It was a good win. It was a nice win, 48th save shutout, first career OHL shutout for Mr. Jack Ivankovic, who played absolutely phenomenal. Oh my goodness. And the problem with the food, that was pretty funny. I guess we could talk about that later. So, but other than that, it was a great weekend. Nice and relaxing.
That's what we like to hear, man. Family time, time to yourself, just self-care, that kind of stuff is always.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. It's so important. So prioritize that. Early life tip for you guys. Just take care of yourself. And that's you are #1. Always remember that. But family time is great for you, Mikey. That's just how sports work, man. Sometimes you beat some of the best teams in the league and then you lose to Denver. That's why they play the games, right, Mikey? That's what we like to say. That's why they play the games.
That's right. That's what Chris Berman says. That's why they play the games, right? And whatever. But it was a tough loss, right? Denver's been playing well, and the Browns came out, and defense can't do it all, right? And the offense was terrible, and let's just say that. So they better be ready to play this weekend against the Rams in LA. So we'll see what happens. Quarterback situation isn't good with Mr. DTR playing, but DTR didn't play that good. I like him, but he needs to step up a little bit. So we'll see.
And the Rams are better than I expect them to be too. I didn't think they're not a great team, but they're better than I thought they'd be. And Denver too has really turned it on. I was not 100%. Expecting that. You do have a great coach, obviously, and Russell Wilson has been good for a long time, but man,
you tell me why Russell Wilson all of a sudden looks like Tom Brady now, all of a sudden, right? He was struggling. Yes, of course, he plays the Cleveland Browns. He looks like Tom Brady. That's what I kept saying on Sunday. There goes Tom Brady again. There goes Tom Brady. Of course, it's got to be against Cleveland, right? It can't be against anyone else but us. But anyway, they've been playing a lot better. Yeah, sorry,
they have.
I just had to throw that in.
No. Yeah. It always seems like that though. Whenever you're like a fan of a team, it's always like this guy sucked for so long, and he comes in here and he just starts playing well. That always seems to happen, no matter what the sport is.
Exactly.
Or another classic one is of course they scored their first goal against my team.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course, this career backup goalie is, standing on his head. That kind of stuff. That was my childhood, guys. I'm past that. I'm still sitting on this World Series win, guys. I'm trying to just focus on that. So, and of course, we're focusing on the Steelheads right now. The team's rolling, #1 in the Eastern Conference again. Like I said, as we record this, and Jack Ivankovic, congrats to the young man. He just continues to impress. A lot of teams and a lot of people around the game in the NHL level too were wondering why this team, who had a 16-year-old goalie last year carry the fort, why did they take another one? Well, this is why. He's showing off, why he's one of the best goalie prospects in the entire game. The 48 save shutout in Erie. He played really well in Guelph, Mikey, if you remember that. Every time he stepped in between the pipes for the Steelheads or for the U17 teams, they've been fantastic. So, Brendan, Jack Ivankovic continues to put together a marvelous rookie season, and we're only in November.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. And remember, we were talking to James Richmond probably about a month ago now, and he said, when you look at the trade deadline, how many overage players or how many players were moved all over the place, but how many goalies were moved? You don't really see that being exactly zero. You don't really see those top goalies going. So when you have a tandem of the two guys that they have, and not only are they going to have them for this year, obviously it's a theme. We talk about that a lot with this team as a whole, but the goaltending situation is the same. I mean, these two guys are going to be around for years to come, and they're going to be able to grow together as a goaltending tandem, which I think is definitely invaluable in having that chemistry. And then also just talking about the actual play from Jack Ivankovic. I mean, you can't understate it enough. Like, I mean, it's been magnificent for a 16-year-old to come in. And I mentioned this on the broadcast, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, Zach, but I think he was it was the most saves ever by a goalie to have a shutout for the Steelheads in their history with 48 saves. And then he was the first 16-year-old to make that many saves for a shutout within the last 25 years in the OHL. So, I mean, that's obviously some pretty high accolades for a young goalie and one who's playing extremely well this year.
Yeah, Mikey, Mark Boudreau said it himself last week here on Trout Talk that, those two guys, he's never seen goalies like that their age. I mean, there's not much more to say. These guys have been phenomenal.
Yeah, his confidence level is absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't play like a 16-year-old. I said it all year long when he's gotten in there, right? His first career OHL win was against the Guelph Storm. Zach, you and I did that game in Guelph. Man, oh man, was he good, right? And ever since he's gotten back from the U17s and even before that, he's played unbelievable. Hey, but how about a couple other milestones on the weekend, guys? Luke Misa picking up his 100th OHL career point on Saturday. Lots of milestones. Mason Zabeski with his first OHL hat trick, right? And Xander Vecchia with 50 OHL career assists, and he's past that. So, I mean, it was a night of first, and it started off on Friday against the Peterborough Petes. 7 different goal scorers, guys, right? I mean, that's called a total team effort. And, that game against Peterborough, just to kind of touch on that, it kind of felt like a beer league game at the end of the game. As you remember, there was maybe about 5 or 6 players on the Peterborough bench at the end, or 7. So, but, it was a great weekend. I think the legs kind of fell off the boys a little bit on Sunday against the Greyhounds. You could tell they're not used to the travel. Yeah, Sue's used to the travel, all this kind of stuff. But you know what? Steelheads aren't. That's the way it goes, right? And not, at least not yet. They're getting used to it, though. And it's nice to see on Saturday, after that quick turnaround against the Peterborough Petes in Erie. And it's tough because, you get in there, 2:30, 2:45 in the morning. 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2:30. I can't remember, but anyway, 2:30 in the morning, something like that in Erie. And you got a game that night. I mean, you got to get up early. You got to go by the itinerary, all that kind of stuff. Breakfast is this time, lunch is this time, and then they got the video, all that kind of stuff. You know what? They did well. They played really well, and that's a good sign, right? And JR talked about the travel, about a young team, traveling and stuff. But a good sign on Saturday the way they played. But against Sault Ste. Marie, they showed the fight at the end of the game. But, just came up a little bit short, right? And I think it's going to be a different outcome next time they play the Sioux Greyhounds.
Yeah, I don't think the schedule did them any favors. I mean,
no.
Defending champs at home on the Friday night. And you know what? You got to have that road game either at the front or the back of a 3-3, not right in the middle. And also not less than 24 hours in between games. You got the defending champs on the Friday night. You got to go out to Erie right away to avoid border complications, especially on U.S. Thanksgiving weekend. So, I mean, you guys could have left on the Saturday morning, but I think it was smarter to go on the Friday. And then you got to play Erie. You got to leave that night because you can't stay overnight. You got to game the next day at 4 o'clock in Mississauga. It was not a favorable schedule, not a favorable situation. It is a young team. They also had 3 good teams that they had to play. They weren't playing any pushover teams. So I guess we could start with Friday night, Brendan. You could see the fight from before the puck drop. Porter Martone kind of pushing and shoving. It was a scrappy one, and the Steelheads certainly got in their face. For me, just to touch on this a little bit, I think it was, they beat us 4-4 last year. We're not going to let that happen again. Let's set the tone before the puck drop for meeting number 1 with these guys. And the defending champs always have a target on their back. So that was a great win on Friday.
Yeah, it was a huge win too, because you talk about the travel as well and how it was going to be difficult playing on that Sunday game. Even playing that Saturday game was going to be difficult with the travel. So to be able to come out and win that first game against Peterborough, and in convincing fashion as well, I think that was probably my favorite game of the year so far, just from a viewing aspect of it. You had everything in it. You had all the goals, like Mikey said before, 7 different goal scorers, so a complete team effort. You also had the physicality, and then at the end, it kind of got a little bit out of hand with about 7 players left on each team. But yeah, it was a huge win to pick up those 2 points. And I remember us talking before the game, Mikey, and you were on the Richard Serrett show before, and you said they need to get this first win, and they're going to be able to pick up 4 out of 6. And that was exactly what happened, because that game set the tone for the entire weekend.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, that's exactly what you said. Like, they set the tone. They came out with physicality. They came out with their speed. They used their speed. Peterborough tried to get out of their own zone. Wasn't happening, right? The forecheck was perfect. And that's the thing. If the forecheck is good, if they're causing turnovers, and I think with this Steelheads team, the speed is so good. And if they're on, and they were on Friday night. And again, 7 different goal scorers. I mean, just firing at all cylinders. The goaltending was good. Ryerson Leanders was good too. Don't forget about that. I mean, He made 26 to 27 stops, I believe, that night, right? He was good. So, that set the tone, and then it, carried over to Erie, and then it was Luke Meese's birthday on Saturday too. So happy birthday to him with 3 assists on Saturday too, right? So, they're singing happy birthday to him and stuff. Oh my goodness, right at the border is pretty funny. So, but yeah. So, hey, good birthday present for him. And so then then just came to Sunday. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And like I said, you know what? The next time they play Sault Ste. Marie, I think it's going to be a different story. In my opinion.
It was 0-0 at the beginning of the second period. They hit a couple posts, and it was Luke Meese and Adam Zidlicky. And if one of those go in, we might have a different game on Sunday. Unfortunately, the bounces just didn't go their way. So the Steelheads finished 2-1 on that 3-3. Before we record this, as we record this, they've got a game on Wednesday morning against the Guelph Storm, and then another busy weekend coming up. And you're listening to Trout Talk here before the game against the Sudbury Wolves. So we'll be right back, and we'll bring our special guest in for an interview on Saga at 9:60 a.m. You're listening to Trout Talk. And welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. Thanks to those watching on YouTube as well. We are pleased to bring in the native of Czechia, kind of, Mr. Adam Zidlicky. Thank you for joining us, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah. Hey, anytime. You look like you're at a desk or something over there. You're
really
relaxed there, Zid. Yeah. That $1 million smile, he's all right. He's good to go.
Adam, I mean, you grew up around the game, right? It seems like your dad played for like a million teams. He was always on the move, and you kind of grew up around that. So talk to me about, having hockey in your blood, being around the rink as often as you were, and being around pros as often as you were. How did that help you kind of immerse yourself in the game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being around the game since a young age, it kind of it was really good for me, and kind of just seeing my dad. When I was younger, I didn't really understand it as much, but as you grow up, you definitely understand it more, and just kind of seeing what it takes was really special to be able to do that, and see how hard it is and how hard you really have to work to get to the next level.
And talking about your dad, what is that relationship like now? I mean, does he still talk to you like after every game? Is he giving you pointers? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's he's been through it all, so it definitely helps me a lot when he helps me out after games or whatever. And yeah.
Does he yell at you every game?
No,
no, I don't know. That's I've heard.
No.
Say, what are you doing out there? Hey, you do this next game, this, and that. Click, then that's it, or no?
No, he's actually really good. He kind of lets me do my own thing, but when I need him and when I need some advice, he's definitely there for me. So
I just want to add one more thing. You and Jakob Fibiger, of course, Czechia natives and whatnot. So I hear you guys talking Czech a lot to each other and stuff. So how much you've been a real good role model, obviously, for Jakob and making him feel comfortable. It looks like to me. I want to throw that in there.
Yeah,
it seems like to me. I hear you guys. I can't speak Czech or anything, but I love the language. Just to let you know. But you guys got a good thing going, and I'm sure you make him feel comfortable. Sorry, go ahead there.
Yeah, no, he's a great kid and a great player, and I mean, I don't think he needed much help at all. His English is really good, and he's a really likable guy. So as soon as he came in, all the boys kind of brought him really well. So, but yeah, I mean, our friendship obviously grew, especially with him speaking Czech, and that making it a lot easier for both of us. And yeah.
Did you know him at all before the Steelheads took him in the import draft? And even then, did you reach out before he committed? How did that process work with you and Jakob?
Yeah, I mean, we knew of each other before, but we never knew each other personally. But after he got drafted, I obviously reached out to him and congratulated him. And then before he actually came over, I called him too, and we kind of spoke on the phone a bit. So yeah.
In Czech.
Yeah.
Not English.
No.
How do you say in Czech? How do you say welcome to the Steelheads? How do you say?
Vítej do Steelheads.
Oh, Vítej Steelheads. I like that.
Steelheads, yeah.
Such a cool language. Very cool.
And you played for Czechia at the Helinka Gretzky Cup, and obviously you guys made it pretty far in that tournament. So how was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. That was early on before the season started. But yeah, I mean, my probably favorite memory from that is being in the States. So that was pretty awesome, and we had a really good group of guys, and yeah.
You know what? You're such a grinder out there too. I mean, like if anybody's in the middle of things, it's you all the time and trying to get the guys going. And you're taking the cross check from behind. Whatever. You know what I mean? Or getting the cross check. You're giving the cross check. You're all over the place in there. You're a grinder. So have you always been like that in your career? No, but you got the skill going on. You got the grind. You can grind. You got the speed, right? I mean, you've been on the fourth line, third line, second line, first line. I mean, you're such a big part of this team.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, I try to chip in with whatever I can and do whatever I need to do for the team to win. So yeah.
Adam, it's great to see. We talked about the nastiness that you're bringing. We're seeing you get a little bit more physical. You also got a nose for the net, so we saw you bank a goal in off the goalie's back, and that kind of got you off the schneid a little bit. And then you picked up an assist on Boudreau's goal as well, shooting from distance and kind of showing off that speed through the neutral zone as well. So for you to kind of keep this hot streak going, what do you think you have to do with your game?
I think playing the same way I've recently been playing. I don't know. I think just playing the same way, just not really focusing too much on the points or whatever. Just play the right way, and then I think everything will just fall in place from there.
And Mikey was talking about your physicality, so we know about that. Obviously, we know about the great speed that you have. But if you're looking at your game and you're assessing yourself, what's kind of one area that you think that kind of you want to make that next step for your improvement?
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, the nose for the net. Really, I've been trying to go to the net a bit more, and just kind of hover around that area. And if any loose pucks come out, and just try to bank them in.
All right, man of short and quick answers. I like that, and very good answers. Just to say. All right, let's go back to your homeland, Czechia, here for a second because I'm so obsessed with it. I really like it. I've always wanted to go. Tell us about the part where your family's from and all that kind of stuff, and what's the best place to eat there? What are the best things to do down there? Come on, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm probably 20-30 minutes out of Prague, and all my family's over there, so I go back every summer and see them. So I'll usually spend most of the summer over there, and yeah, I mean, I love it. All my childhood buddies are over there too, so it's always good. That's awesome. But yeah,
that's it. What do you guys do down there?
What do we do? I don't know. Prague's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun spot to hang out with your buddies at, and just go out to eat, get some Czech food, and yeah.
Tell me some Czech food.
Some Czech food. I mean, schnitzel's German, but pretty popular in Czech. We eat a lot of
goulash.
Goulash, yeah, that's some goulash. I say we eat a lot of McDonald's, but that's not really Czech.
All right.
Zids, tell me you've cooked for the boys. You've shown them the Czech way. You've kind of like chefed it up a little bit for them, right?
Not in the kitchen, no.
Ooh, surprising. I bet you Jakob can get you going on that.
Jakob,
I could see it with the pan.
For sure.
Flipping it like this anyway.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough. My billet mom's Polish, so she makes a lot of Czech food for me, so makes that pretty good.
So what's she making then? Like some of the stuff you just mentioned there, but what's kind of her go-to meal?
I had pierogies today that she made, so
nice.
Yeah.
it's really good. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. She just all the European food, so yeah.
Very nice. Wow, European food. You got a billet mom that takes care of you with food. Does she like? Wow, you're lucky. You're a
Very
lucky man. Very lucky man. All right, so let's talk about this is going to be recorded and stuff like that, but the game will be done. But we're talking about the Guelph Storm a little bit here. So you guys are gonna be playing against the Guelph Storm coming up. What's been the emphasis in practice?
Emphasis just playing with speed and being disciplined. Just kind of playing a fast-paced game. That's what we've really been focused on lately. I think we played pretty well our last 3 games. I think we played pretty fast and turned the puck over real quick. So I think that helps a lot.
When you guys are doing your video sessions before the game against Guelph, are you guys looking more at the last 3 games that you played? Are you looking as well at the game that you played against Guelph last month? Like what are you guys studying when you go into a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously study Guelph a lot. Like that's probably what we do the most. But we'll definitely go through our clips from our previous games, like our special teams a lot. So we'll review those and just hopefully be ready for Guelph.
And with the school day game happening, obviously it's an 11 o'clock start in the morning. It's kind of different than you guys are used to. You had a tough travel weekend this past weekend, and then you got the 11 o'clock game. So how do you make sure that you're prepared? Because obviously your routine's going to be kind of thrown off a little bit.
Just a cup of coffee, I guess. I'm not a big morning person, so the early start I'm not a huge fan of. But just a cup of coffee, I guess. Get us woken up in the morning.
What time are you getting to the rink at then for an 11 o'clock game?
A bit before 9.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 hours, something like that. Just get ready and wake up a bit. But yeah,
3 tough games. 3 tough games coming this weekend. You got Guelph on Wednesday. You got the London Knights in London on Friday, and the Sudbury Wolves on Sunday. Tell me you're not going to get pumped up for these 3 games. How do you pump yourself up before the game?
How do I pump myself up, or how do we pump ourselves up?
You personally.
I don't know. I like to keep it pretty chill. Maybe Boudreaux's pretty good with the tunes, so he'll put some good songs on and get the boys going. So,
all right.
What about you? What's your genre of choice? Like, what music are you bumping in the car on the way in?
On the way in, I like to be pretty calm on the drives there to the rink, so I'll do a little country, something pretty slow, nothing too crazy. And then once you get to the rink, I'll tune it up a bit, but yeah.
We actually talked quite a bit about music on this show, and I'm a country music fan too. So who's the artist? Like, I mean, obviously there's a ton of guys that I listen to too, but like, what's number one?
It's a tough choice, but Morgan Wallen's up there right now too. He's probably my number one. Probably number one. Yeah, we listen to a lot of them, so it's pretty good.
Nice, not too bad. All right, so you told me about goulash. You told us about schnitzel and all that kind of stuff. So we pretty much know about Czechia. Let's go back to your game now, to your personal game. And like I said, you're a grinder. You're out there. You're giving it your all every shift of what we see, right? What do you see from this team in the second half of the year? Do you think this team, in your mind, is going to get better? What do you see?
I think definitely. I think we have a great group of guys. I know we're a bit young, but I think we have a really talented team and a really close team. I think especially in playoff time in the second half of the year, I think that's when it comes out the most, how close the team really is. And I think this year is probably one of the closest teams I've ever played on. So that's really good. And yeah, I have pretty high expectations.
That's been a common theme. I think everybody we've talked to, either on air or off air, has said this is the closest group we've ever played with. What makes you guys so tight? Because it is a young group. I mean, you're an 18-year-old, and you're kind of like one of the older ones now. So talk to me about the actual dynamic with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, like you said, the young team, I think there's not really too many groups. I think everybody's just close with everybody, and it all starts from the culture. So it all starts from, the culture that's created here and the cultures that just everybody battles together and just sticks together. So it's kind of works out that way.
And with the team being so close, and James Richmond kind of likes to change up the lines a little bit, likes to shuffle things around. But the past 3 games there, you were playing with Boudreau and Carmier. So just kind of talk to me about those 2 guys and what it's like to play on a line with them.
Yeah, they're good. I think Boudreau has obviously some skill, and he's a physical guy. So it's obviously fun to have him on a line and, watch him crash some bodies. And I think Carmier is on the side, really skilled and really smart with the puck. So it's a pretty good line, and really grateful for those 2.
All right, Zid, your favorite rink to play at and your least favorite rink to play at, and the team you get hyped up the most to play against. I think I know one of these answers, but go ahead.
Favorite rink? That's tough.
Okay.
And I can't say our own rink, I'm guessing.
No, you can't say.
All right. Favorite rink? Oshawa has a pretty nice barn.
Okay.
Yeah. Most hyped up, probably the London Knights.
Okay, I was going to say Kitchener, but all right.
Yeah, that's just the Kitchener Ranger in him, right?
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's the Kitchener Ranger.
Yeah.
All right, and the team you get most hyped up to play against?
Probably London Knights. Yeah.
So hopefully we see that Friday night, right?
Yeah. They're they obviously have a lot of history behind them, and a lot of my favorite players growing up played for them, so it's pretty cool.
Adam, we know you're tight with this group right now. We know you've also played with Kitchener. Who are some of the other guys around the league that you would consider some of your close friends? Anybody that you kind of work in the summer with, or you just have a personal relationship with?
There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of Czech guys too. So like Chalet just joined Barry too. So it's good to chat with them after the games when we play them. And Hamera is a close buddy of mine. We used to be on Kitchener together. He's in with Brantford now, but yeah, that's a really good buddy of mine, and I don't want to leave anybody out. So a lot of guys.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
And we were talking before this and kind of on the broadcast during the game against Peterborough, and we were saying that game, and maybe you heard us talking about it a little bit when you were waiting to come on, but that game was kind of like, you guys got beat up a little bit by Peterborough last year, losing 4 games to them. Was there that extra sort of motivation? I know that's kind of, we've thought that might be the case, but is that kind of a fair assessment going into that game? You guys kind of had a little extra jump in your step, because obviously scoring 7 goals, putting on a great performance, but also, I mean, the physicality was there right from the puck drop at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, for sure. But they've played pretty good lately, so we studied them a bit on film, and obviously, you're keeping up with what teams are doing good and stuff, and they've been doing good lately, so we wanted to be really ready, and yeah.
Oh, you guys were certainly ready on that Friday night. 7 different goal scorers, you scoring the goal, Eggleton scoring, Martone scoring, Zabeski scoring. I mean, how much did it mean? I want to talk about the game a little bit on Saturday night at Erie against, you're playing in front of, I think it was 3,900, 4,000 lunatics. I just say that, really hardcore fans in Erie, of course.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And were they chirped? I mean, I heard a couple things maybe, but did you hear a couple things for the fans?
Yeah, for sure. I think they have
very passionate crowd, just to say.
Yeah, very
passionate.
passionate,
That's what I'm trying to say.
fan base. So I think that's what you can call it, a passionate fan base. But yeah.
Yes. How do you react? So give me some of the tricks. Tell me like one little chirp or something, and then tell me how tell me a little something. Because I don't want to say what I heard, but you can tell me what you heard.
I don't know. You try to tune it out as much as possible, especially when it's a fan trying to give it to you. So
does it pump you up though? It makes you go harder, right?
A little bit, yeah, definitely. But
I think it did on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just trying to send
We're passionate fans.
Yeah, going for sure. But you try not to focus on it too much, not throwing off your game, but yeah.
Oh gosh, those fans, they're just so passionate. Let's just say that. Yeah. Very funny. Yeah.
What's your pregame meal? I know this is a pretty typical question, but I'm always interested to see what you guys eat, because a lot of you guys have been growing a lot by the year. So I'm curious to hear.
Wow.
I'll do like chicken and pasta like 2 hours before the game, and I'll do like a bagel right before. So
yeah, you always come with bagels, huh?
Bagel and a coffee.
Are you just like literally like ripping a plain bagel apart? Or are you cutting it out, putting some spread on?
No,
I can see you doing that.
You should go to Timmy's and they'll make me a nice butter bagel. So.
Okay.
I like it pre-cut. So.
I think the chicken and pasta has been a pretty common answer when we ask that question for pregame meals. Also, we asked Parker Von Richter about his superstitions, and he gave us a list that was like 5 minutes long of things that he did before the game. Are you a superstitious guy as well, or you kind of just get there and hop on the ice?
Not really. I try not to be. I don't know. Not much at all. No, try not to do stuff that'll mess me up or anything. But try to show up, play. Yeah.
Nothing. You
I
don't
do
anything.
I tie my right skate first. I've been doing that since I was young. But besides that, nothing really much. No.
You don't know the right skate first, then you put the left skate on. I don't know.
There was a rumor going around. Do you put your skates on before your hockey pants? Is that true?
I do. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Who was that who told us that?
PVR told
was
us.
it? Okay.
PVR,
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We were. That's pretty. That's all right. There you go. There's superstition. Right?
Yeah. Maybe. But,
Are you the only guy that? Yeah. Are you the only guy that does that? I've honestly never seen anybody do that.
I don't think so. I think a couple guys do it.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's all right. So there's got to be something else. Come on. There's got to be something else you do superstitious wise. I mean, come on. I mean, think about it. I mean, you tie your right skate.
Take my. Nothing crazy. I'm just a pretty regular guy. So.
Getting a bagel. That's
getting a bagel. You call it
a bagel and a coffee, smiling. That's every time this guy, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Zidlicky, you just have a conversation with him. You're going to smile because he's smiling, right? So you got to smile. He's never miserable. So you got to like that. Yeah.
There you go. I got one more thing I just want to ask about your time spent at Minnesota camp. You got an opportunity to go out there. I just kind of wanted to ask about your experience doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. It was unbelievable, to see how everything works and, how everybody just has a pro mentality over there. And there were a couple of Czech guys there too. So it was nice to kind of, snap it with them a bit. And I had a good time.
Anybody, in terms of the pro level that was kind of running things, overseeing it? Like, did you get to talk to like Billy Guerin or anything like that?
Not much, no. I mean, everybody's pretty busy over there, but I mean, you just kind of seeing the facility and stuff, and how you're kind of treated over there is it's a little crazy. Like you don't really believe it that there's just the food. Honestly, the food surprised me the most. I walked in, they had like 3 chefs in the kitchen just cooking up us some breakfast. So that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What did you bring back with you? Skill wise, talking to the guys, about what you learned. What did you bring back to the guys?
I mean, just kind of focusing on the little things a bit. The little things so important, and I think kind of the pros realize that the little things are what matters in the long run, and kind of that.
And you grew up with, a defenseman for a father. Does he critique your defensive game a little bit more than your offensive game, or is he just kind of looking at the whole thing?
Click.
He's pretty offensive. So we chirp each other sometimes that I'm more defensive now than he was when he played.
So. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
That's a great way to leave it off. Adam, thank you so much for joining us here. Best of luck tomorrow, this weekend, and we'll see you around the rink this year, man. Keep it up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, that's Adam Zidlicky of Mississauga Steelheads, forward number 91. You're with us on Trout Talk right now, and we'll be right back to wrap the interview and bring you some more action. Welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. That was Adam Zidlicky. As Mikey said, a man of few words, but a lot of wisdom. He's been around the game for a while. He's been in a number of countries. He's represented his team on an international scale. Mikey, let's talk about Adam Zidlicky. I mean, he is such a versatile player, and we got a lot of insight from him today.
Yeah, he's, swag. That's the word for that guy, swag. A lot of swag, right? And, he talked about his father, of course, having the influence that he's had on him, being a defenseman in the NHL. His father, Marek Zidlicky, of course, and how they talk back and forth, and I'm sure talking about his defensive game, his defensive game has gotten it's always been good, his defensive game, but his offensive game has gotten better as well, that I find. But the way he talks and the way he carries himself, yeah, he's a man of few words, but he's a man that a few words in all business out there. And, I just like the way he talks. I love the way he plays out there with that aggressiveness. He's always in there sticking up for his teammates. He's always in there grinding. He's the first guy that's going to, be in there all the time, right? If you look for a scrum, if there's always a scrum, Zidlicky's always the first one in there, right? That's what it seems like. Oh, there's Adam Zidlicky, he's in there, and whatever. But he draws a lot of penalties too. That's the thing, right? With his play, and he got that chance with the in camp with the Minnesota Wild. If he keeps going like this, I expect him to have a really good second half of the year because he's been playing a lot better lately. So expect him maybe to get more shots at the end of this year if he keeps playing the way he's playing, maybe NHL wise.
Yeah, and Zach, you had mentioned it too when we were talking to him, but just saying going to the net, like just kind of being that like hard-nosed player, and especially with the type of speed that he has, and he has pretty good size as well to play physical too. So those are kind of the areas, and he said too, an area that maybe he needs to improve on a little bit is just getting to those spots on the ice a little bit more often to try to put those in. And I always find it so fascinating talking to somebody or just hearing about somebody who's parent played at the highest level and then you're trying to make it to like that. I can't even fathom like how valuable that would be to have that type of experience from your dad playing in the NHL, to just not even the hockey part of it, but just who understands what it takes to make it to that level and what it takes to stay at that level and all the kind of things that you need to do to get there, even besides the hockey aspect. It's got to be such a valuable thing to have. And obviously it's helped him a ton here in his career.
I don't think my dad ever even stepped on skates before I started playing. And I only went as far as AA. So let's blame my dad for me not going pro, right?
Right. But you know what? How can you expect a guy that's smiling, always smiling, right? To him to be that guy, to be that grinder. I mean, you just don't expect it. Every time you see him, he's smiling, like I said, and stuff. Like he's, you expect those grinder kind of guys to be so they're very serious and all business and stuff. Yeah, he's all business, but he's smiling and he's all business. I mean, can you imagine playing against somebody like Adam Zidlicky? I mean, getting in the corner and then he's smiling at you, just smiling and getting into it with you. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? You know what I mean? Like, expect him to be that kind of player.
But Mark Boudreau's the same. Probably the most outgoing guy on the team, probably the biggest personality. But he's probably the last guy you want to mess with on that team because he'll give you some shout.
And I think he's the most outgoing on the ice too, because every time we always see him in conversation with somebody, like every single game. I mean, Zidlicky's pretty similar though. He's always in there as well too. Like, I mean, there's always some conversations going on, and it always seems at the end of the period there always is some type of conversation that goes on before they go off the ice. So I love that kind of stuff. I think it gets you in the game.
I love that you can. Sorry, Zach. I was just going to say, the versatility of Zidlicky as well.
Yeah.
He could play forward. He could play on the penalty kill as well. I mean, he's such a big part to this team, and if he can really get it going with guys like Lucas Carmiris, we're waiting for Lucas Carmiris to kind of come out of it. If he can get going with Jack Van Wolfson, and just to mention a couple, man, how good, and Vecchia is starting to come out of his shell a little bit, right? So how good can this team really be? And he mentioned it in the second half of the year. He really thinks this team's going to step up.
Yeah, I mean, and they should. But this really, I know Adam wasn't drafted by Mississauga. He was traded for, but it really seems like everybody on this team has that versatility. They play a north-south game, and they can contribute on the penalty kill. And, when we see guys take leaps like Mason Zabeski has on the power play, that's a different story. But they have the foundation. Like, they have that hockey IQ. And from there, when they get the experience, the game just starts to grow and progress. So Adam's no different. I think, we're seeing it with a lot of these guys. Obviously, some of them may be streakier than others, but that only means that we're going to see bigger things from the guys who haven't really broken out yet. And we're hoping that they do it this Sunday. Coming up here on Trout Talk, if you're listening on the radio, you'll hear the Sudbury Wolves and the Mississauga Steelheads. Me and Mikey on the call. Brendan unable to make it today, but that's going to be a good game as well. I mean, we're looking ahead at this one, and this is a team that we were talking about before the season, Brendan, with a target on their back, a team that can score a lot of goals, a good a good import goalie. Like there's a lot, and obviously they get Dalibor Dvorsky as well. So Sudbury, I mean, that's one of the teams you got to look out for. This is their first trip to Mississauga this season.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. We talked about it before the season started, and they're they're a younger team as well, and traded away Boudreau, so he's going to be excited to play against his former team too. But yeah, I mean, a team that we think or we thought definitely would be up there in the standings in the Eastern Conference, and it would be a big opponent for Mississauga. So I think they're sitting in 6th place right now in the Eastern Conference. Mississauga in 1st. It's going to be a tight matchup. And you mentioned the goaltending as well, and he's been great this year too. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think it's a matchup that fits the Steelheads well. I think it's a team that they play hard on both sides of the puck. So definitely be an interesting game.
Yeah, key to this game this afternoon is definitely going to have to be the Steelheads forecheck. They have to get in there on that Sudbury Wolves defense and cause turnovers. And one thing about the Sudbury Wolves defense, yeah, they got a good defense back there, but they've been known to turn that puck over a lot sometimes in their own ends, right? They really don't have that clean breakout, and really haven't found it yet. Let's just say. So, anyways, keys to the game: if you're Mississauga, forecheck hard on their defense. Move, get in there hard as James Richmond style of hockey. And on the defensive end, Sudbury, they got a lot of speed up there. David Goyette, they got Dvorsky, Quinton Musty. Man, they got a lot of speed. So the defense has to get that puck out of there quick, get that puck down in their end quick, and get chances. And the goaltending has to be good too. But you got to be good defensively in your own zone against the Sudbury Wolves team.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Brandon, this team can score as much as anybody in the OHL. Right. You even forgot, Kanye and Coach Adelek. I mean, this team has a lot of depth up front, especially.
Yeah, a lot of depth up front. Like Mikey said, you have to be strong in the defensive zone, but I like that you mentioned the forecheck too. I think they did a really good job on the forecheck against Peterborough. Like any time that puck was down in Peterborough's end, they were on them quickly every time. It was I didn't see all of the game in Erie, but it seemed to be the same way. Yeah. Other than when they were killing those penalties. That's when Ivan Kovic came up huge and made a ton of saves. But the forecheck was really big in those two games, and then obviously there was some travel things against Sault Ste. Marie, but it took a step back in that game. And that's kind of allowed the Greyhounds to break out of the zone. And you were just saying, if you give this defense time with the Wolves, they're going to be able to break the puck out, and then they're going to be able to use the speed up front, and they're going to cause havoc in the offensive zone. So that forecheck is going to be extremely important.
Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I was going to say the Sioux didn't score a 5-on-5 goal. They had 5. None of them were 5-on-5. Special teams for me is also a point of emphasis. Of course, that could always be said, but especially, Mikey, against a team that can score like Sudbury. I know we keep talking about how good their offense is, but when you look at the team, that's what stands out to me. They are beatable for sure. You mentioned the forecheck getting hard on their D and causing some havoc in their zone. But if you let them get to work in the offense, you let them go run and gun, you let them cycle on the forecheck and just kind of get set up shop in the offensive zone. That's where you get in trouble with Sudbury. So
yeah, that's the key.
Eliminating that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you got to eliminate the run and gun game against the Sudbury Wolves. You don't want to run and gun against these guys, right? That's why you got to get the puck deep. You got to forecheck. You got to cycle that James Richmond style. What we saw on Friday against Peterborough, what we saw on Saturday against the Erie Otters. Get the cycle going. Get the forecheck going against the Sudbury Wolves defense, and then cause some turnovers as well. And they're going to be all right, but you got to get the puck out of there quick, because you're going to have those guys are going to be on you quick, that Sudbury offense. So this is a team that's going for it this year. We all know that, right? And they're going to lose a lot of players after this year. So they're going for it. But I think the Mississauga Steelhead speed might be a little bit too much for them, maybe in their own zone, and a little bit of revenge factor too. Don't forget, last time the Wolves beat the Steelheads, a tired Steelheads team in Sudbury. First time.
The Wolves, of course, don't have Ethan Larman anymore. They don't have Jakub Kromiak, so it is a bit of a different look, less familiarity, but still a team to watch. You got a couple minutes here, guys. How about some life tips? Anybody have any wisdom that they'd like to share with the listeners?
We were just talking about that. Be a leader, not a follower. There you go. How about that one? Be a leader, not a follower. And if somebody's going to jump off a bridge, you don't jump off a bridge. I'm just saying stuff like that, right? Be a leader. Be a leader out there. Be good, and just be a leader, not a follower. That's all I have to say. Anybody like to elaborate on that?
It's a great tip, and we were talking about it off the air, and you said that you thought that you'd said it before, but I don't think you have. I think that's the first time that you brought it out here. So I think it's a good time to break it out. It's been in your head for so long because you know this tip and you know the wisdom. So now you finally broke it out and let everybody know.
Yeah, just be a leader, not a follower. Yeah. Anybody else like to elaborate? Zach,
Brendan doesn't have a way.
Huh?
Nothing from me today.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
No, I second that for sure. It's really important. Critically think, right? Just because somebody's saying something to you, don't just take their word for it. Maybe, okay, let me look into this a little bit. Let me do some digging. Let me talk to different people, and maybe there's a little bit of middle ground. Maybe it's not all what this person says and all what this person says, but maybe it's a little bit of a gray area in the middle. So I think it's so important in life. And this is just, off the top of my head, it's so important to just critically think. Don't take things for what they are, because very often they're not. And I think that's very important.
I like that. Well done. Well said.
Very good. Way to finish it off, Zach.
Yeah. Don't take things for granted, right?
That's true too.
For granted. I like that.
There you go.
All right.
Follower. All right.
Exactly. Steelheads and the Sudbury Wolves. The Steelheads would like to be leaders themselves coming up here on 960 AM. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we'll be back next week. We always are. And, happy holidays to everybody in advance. But we will join you next week still as normal. For Brendan Lang and Mike Carafalitas, I'm Zach Bodenstein. Have a great day.